perfect picture. We're in Photoshop, we're trying to create this thing all in post-production. It doesn't exist. It doesn't matter how much perfection you think you can throw at it in post-production. What matters is that perfect moment. That's the only thing that's perfect. Okay, so there's no such thing as a perfect picture, only a perfect moment. So practice that, and it's in camera. It's not in post-production. It's always going to be in camera capture, and then enhance it, make it beautiful. So we're going to add something to this. My little Frezzolini. This is a Frezzi, and it's the micro. It's a video light, and videographers typically use the mini. The mini is a little bigger, and it's just a honking thing, right? So the micro, it's got a variable control on it, right here, on and off. I can add whatever available light that I want. So you can get the Frezzolini battery with it. I figured out that that battery was twice as heavy as this IDX. This is IDX battery, and it's a lithium. It's called the Endura 7S, 7 as in 7 and S as in Sam. And the Frezzi battery is twice as heavy, and at full power lasts maybe 30 minutes. This one is half as the weight of that one, and at full power is 3 hours. I never finished this thing at about 5, 6 weddings. I still have battery juice on it. On the one end of it, it tells you exactly how much you have left in this thing. But I'll show you how I use that and when I use it. I typically use this during the first dance. I like shooting in available light, and every once in a while my flash is available, and so is the Frezzi. So I like it on this thing. Now initially, I slapped it on here, and then I realized after the first 3 frames something was up, and luckily we do have this thing in the back here where you can cheat and look. You know, you ever see this click and then look, click and then look over and over and over? I see a lot of photographers do that. Not allowed on my team. We call that chimping. Do you know why we call that chimping? It's because this is what we look like to the guests. Because not only do they look at every frame, they got to blow it up, they got to roll it over. Is it sharp over here? And by the time you finish looking at that one frame, you've missed 5 moments that unfolded in front of you that you were never aware of because you're busy looking at this. This, however, is an amazing tool. Use it diligently. And how you do that is, let's say the bride is getting ready in the getting ready room. And when she saw me, she saw Jennifer Lopez's photo, she saw Christina Aguilera, and she said, well, Joe, it's really cool, they're beautiful, but I'm not J-Lo. And actually, I'm a little uncomfortable. I'm a little more overweight than I'd like to be. And I have like 2 double chins, and I'm really uncomfortable about that. So I hear all that, and I say, you know what? I know you're not J-Lo, but I'm not looking for what's on the outside. I'm looking for what's on the inside. And what I'm going to photograph is what's in here. This is the most important day to you, and I'm going to find you in here. And the way that I do that at the wedding, so she knows that already, but when I come to the wedding, she's still a little nervous because now I'm with my camera, right? So she's sitting in front of the mirror at a little table like this, and she's looking in the mirror. And for a split second, she's unaware of anybody else in the room. And I see it, because she's just now thinking about walking down the aisle, how happy, and you can almost see it on her face that just letting go of. So I find a chair, I pull it over, I stand up on a chair, I grab the long lens, and I say, Christina, and she looks up, bam! Before she can respond and smile at me, I got it. Now, why am I on a chair? Why did I get her attention in that moment? Here's why. Because when you look down and you have her move up with her head, it takes away the double chin. I'm not going to stand on the chair and say, yo, Christina, look up here. I want to remove your double chin, darling, and then photograph her. I'm not going to say anything. What I'm going to do is simply this. Stand on the chair. Christina. She looks up. Bam, nail it. And then walk down, say, look. And she'll go, is that me? Yeah, that's how I see you today. Because to capture the essence of her in that moment requires camera unawareness. We have all been taught as kids to smile at the camera. So anytime a camera comes in our face, what do? smile, right? Because that's what we're taught. Here, you go into the church, in the back of the church is Uncle Henry with Aunt Harriet. And Uncle Henry, for a second, is staring at the ceiling because there is these beautiful frescoes painted, these beautiful scenes. And he's just, oh my God, because he's totally bored with the ceremony, you can tell. But he's totally engrossed in that ceiling because it's beautiful. So here comes Joe, and he sees Joe with this, and he says, ha, ha. What does he do? He grabs Harriet, and he looks at me and he says, okay, now shoot. All right, so the picture comes back. Oh, look, there we are, Harriet. Oh, yeah, nice picture, Henry. Done. What if I walk by as he was gazing, hand on chin at the ceiling, and I go, boom. And he hears the shudder and looks at me and goes, oh, man, that was sneaky. I go, yep, it was. But now the picture comes back, and it's this one. Harriet, do you remember the ceiling? Do you remember the paintings on the ceiling? What comes back is a memory, a feeling. Because it was camera unaware, it was the essence of him in that moment, and he's going to remember that. That's what I want him to have. That's what I want the bride to have. These moments between moments that are absolutely perfect because they were camera unaware. So that's what I'm after with this little bag of tricks. So what I showed you earlier with this Frezzi, because it was back here and it was on, was casting a shadow because of this long thing. I never shoot without a hood, ever. And I never put a filter on the front of my lenses. Why would you put an $18 piece of glass in front of a $3,000 piece of glass? I'll never understand that one. Don't do it. And here's why people do it. Joe, it's for protection. Really? You know what? That's for protection. If you bonk it into something, you hit the lens hood. You don't hit the lens, so keep this thing on, and guess what it's supposed to do? Keep light out so you don't get lens flare. And yes, there are times you want lens flare, because I look for it at times when I shoot straight into the sun. I love it. I love lens flare. But keep this on for protection. Take that cheap piece of glass off. So I'm thinking, what am I going to do about that shadow? I go to a video store. I find this little piece here, and I say, what's this for? And he says, it goes on a video camera like this, and you put two lights on. It's double lighting. I said, really? I turn it over. It's square. Okay, so it goes on like that. Awesome. But why if it's not like that? Ooh, look at that. I've actually managed to extend it past my lens now, my lens hood. So with this plugged in, and we have a little touchy stuff of softbox. And then what we have, when I shoot, this will be on my belt. It fits through a loop like that. Okay, for today, it's in pocket. I have a variable light source that I can give a kiss of light. I can add a little more, and it's continuous. I can shoot from across the room while they're doing their first dance and get nice little portraits in P mode. Remember P mode? In the dark with a little added light. Not with a boom flash from God. It is simply an add-on addition that I have here that just is incredible for the way that I use light. Cake cutting. Do you ever see people use the cake, all white, a bride in all white, and they power up this flash, all white? What do? They blow out any detail in the cake and also in the dress. So I'm an available light guy. Here's where my assistant comes in, who also comes with me, right? So I have my primary shooter, and then I have my assistant, who may take this thing and light me so that it's not straight on, but adds what? Shadow on one side, highlight on the other. So either it's flash, bounced off the wall, cake in front of me, bride over here, bounce it that way so it comes in this way. Or if there's nothing available here, or it's glass, or it's black, which is the two things you can't bounce a flash off of, my video light right here, just like this. Okay? Now I'm still in P mode. I'm still shooting available light. I'm adding a little light. And that's what I use this for. Love this. Okay. Pretty much that's what I do. This is my gear. This is what I come with. There you go. I'm using Lexar cards. I'm trying these today. Lexar is brilliant. 32 gigs. Scares me a little bit to have that much info on a card. I shoot everything in small RAW, which on this camera is 10 megabytes per file. That's roughly 2,000 images on this card, on one card. I typically shoot 16 gig cards, and I go through one on each camera. For a 7-hour gig, that's usually sufficient. So that's about 2,000 images, 1,800 or so. And today I'm going to try and use a little bit of the 32 gigs rather, and take a peek at it. So that's my setup. There you have it. On an occasion when I am asked to shoot film, I will bring a 1V as in Victor Canon camera for film. So there's 3 bodies. What I do is, what I like is that these lenses stay on here and that my assistant will help me change out some of the other lenses that I might need throughout the day. For the most part, each one's dedicated to a lens, and I pretty much leave it alone. There's some special times like Bright Getting Ready and when I do portraits where I go to the 85 1.2. There are other instances where I totally need to knock out the background and still have a tack sharp image when I focus with obviously low depth of field, shallow depth of field, and use the 1.2 lenses shooting at 1.8. For those of you that don't know, where do you think the sharpest point of the lens is on an 85 1.2? Okay, I want you to think about it for a second. An 85 1.2, where's the sharpest point of this lens? Try 2 stops over wide open. Okay, so you're looking at roughly 1.8, 2.0. Okay, that is the sharpest part of this lens. So guess what? That lens is meant to be shot pretty much wide open, not at f8. It's meant to be shot at 1.8, f2, 2.2, maybe 2.5, once in a while 3.2, done. I don't go beyond 3.5 on these lenses. On the 85, on the 50, on the 24, I don't go past 3.2, 3.5. I'm done after that. So everything is at the lower end where it's the sharpest. When you have a lens that is an f4 to 5.6 lens, where is the sharpest point in that lens? 2 stops over. What's 2 stops over past 5.6? f8, f11. There it is. So at f11, what in the heck in available light can you get unless you're outside in broad daylight? In a reception hall at 3200 ISO, you can't use f11. If it's dark, if it's candlelit. So I use these guys during the reception at pretty much wide open, and even in the P mode. So we'll do all of that tomorrow in the church setting. And today I think what we'll do is play a little bit in here in the Bride Getting Ready. I think what we need is whoever is out there. I think I need a student in here. I need my bride in here. I'll move things around a little bit, and let's play a little. All right. And of course, you know, we'll have you guys ask questions because I know you're probably going to have a bunch of them. So feel free to start formulating what you've seen in here and what you want to ask of me when it comes to this stuff. Do we have my bride. That's great. We have a bride. We love brides. And what else do I need? I need a student, right? Or do I need one even? I need my black jacket for sure. So when I come to a getting ready room, typically I will move things around. Question, is that PJ? Answer, no, it's not. Again, the minute I move something, I'm no longer a photojournalist, but I am trying to create something that's beautiful in camera so that I don't have to Photoshop anything later. I try to minimize how much Photoshop I use. So initially there was a little table here and 2 little seats, and that's great, but this is window light, right? So I know that what I'm going to do in a little while, after I move this out of the way, this is what my assistant does for me. I'm good. Yep. So I want you to, yeah, I can plug that back in. I want you to think about, I don't even know what that is. It's part of the table. We don't need it. It's wired. Remember when I said earlier that you might have a situation where you come in and the bride's getting dressed in front of the window. It's very typical. First of all, this to me is really harsh light. So you got to love these rooms, these getting ready rooms. You always find a curtain like this because you want to sleep at night. But what I do is pull this. Because what does this become? See-through like this. Softbox. A giant softbox. Love it, okay? Now, if I have my bride here, if you can see on her face, she's got highlight and she's got shadow. Three-dimensional. Depth right here. Highlight, shadow. This is what I want to shoot. If I want to make this more dramatic, do we have that black jacket? Where is our host? Pray tell. I think he brought that black jacket. No, but
Mine?
She's available. So check it out. I come in a black suit. I wear black slacks, a black T-shirt, and a black jacket, okay? So if you want to catch this from this side, let me show you how to do this. If you look straight at me like now, okay? So this has a little bit of shadow. Let's say you wanted to add more. This is called subtractive lighting. Watch what happens if you take a look at her face dead on. That's subtracted. Now there's a little more. Now there's a little less. Now there's a little more. Now there's a little less. Okay, that's one method. So this would have been my jacket. Thank you for letting me use that. This would have been my jacket, and my assistant would have done exactly that, subtract the light from it. Now let's say you wanted to do flat lighting. People always ask me, well, man, what are you going to bring? You know, I mean, you got to have a lighting kit and stuff. No, not really. Oh, don't you bring reflectors? No, not really. Why not? Because here. Assistant, take a look at her face now. We have that three-dimensional look I want. We have beautiful uplighting. Look at that. Hello. We like that. Look at that. Flat lighting, all in the pillow. Okay? Now, suppose I don't have this pillow, but what do you have at weddings? You have cocktail tables. What do the cocktail tables have on? White sheets. That comes off. Boop, boop. So there's my reflector. I can always put it back. I want to be a minimalist, so I bring as little as possible. I know that I can find everything that I need at a wedding. These are white. So I know I have reflective material. Worst case scenario, you use a little bit of the dress. I know. And I can still light this thing. So if this dress came up a little more, if all I'm doing is a portrait, I will use her dress to train. I will whip it around, have my assistant light her. Okay? If I want to create more drama, I subtract it, but all from one light source. And what was the other light source I mentioned earlier with respects to by flash? Hitting a wall and making a window, just like this. Directional lighting. It's going to come from the side. And here's key. Follow her eyes. If she looks to the left, light that side on the left, right, from where I'm standing, right? So always follow her eyes. If she looks there, I hit the flash that way. If she looks this way, I flip my flash that way. The whole face turns. Boom. Because what I want to do is light the side of the face furthest from the camera. I want to keep the side of the face that's closest to the camera in shadow. That's what I want to do. So I always take my prompt from her. And yeah, there are going to be times she's going to be looking dead at me, which is fine. You can go either direction then. But if she looks that way, flash is over here. So a lot of the times I shoot, and I'll show you at the church tomorrow, where I have one hand literally on camera like this and the other one on the head of my flash moving it as to where I might point it. Okay? So that's pretty much what I do with that little bit of a kit that I have there. It's plenty. Did you see how dramatic that lighting was from her face with the uplighting from that? It's so easy to do. Bed sheets, anything can happen, right? So here is where, let me see, where's my camera? And I'll change it. I'll go to 85. So typically, I have to tether myself really quickly so that we can actually utilize some of these images later. Oh, having touch-ups and everything. How cool. We got that, right? A tether. Sorry, normally I'm not tethered at a wedding, but it's all good. Bear with me, guys and gals. So we're going to talk a little bit about techniques. If I'm shooting this way, let's say, you know what, if you guys were this way, kind of like, yeah, and I'm going to open this up for a second. I've seen this more than once where they're standing like that. Okay, in P mode, let's say I'm in P mode right now. And let's just say 400. So I'm shooting in P mode. I see that. I shoot it. Okay. What's going to happen is a silhouette that's actually quite beautiful. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. Yeah, nice. Hold that right there. That's beautiful. And of course, you don't say hold it right there. But also know that you have to, I lock in the center of my focusing point. And that's the only place I shoot from, center, lock. And I don't mind moving this around. And this is great for silhouette. So I would leave it in P mode